babies looking for food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, some still. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
Yeah, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome back as the world turns. It is what it is. It's right in your face. Do not deny it. Do not run away from it. Accept your situation for what it is. Yes, you are involved in what is obvious to the rest of the world, not so obvious to all American citizens, particularly MAGA folk, particularly folk that just seem to blindly trust a cult figure instead of trust just what the facts say. And the facts tell you time and time and time again that, yes, you are caught up in a honeypot scheme. It does have international implications for the United States of America and the world, and you are watching it in real time. And Trump is one of the center figures, he's one of the center figures caught in the honeypot. But he's not the only one. No, he's not the only one. He is not the only one. But, there's also peripheral shit that goes on that lets you know that, damn, honeypot scheme is not that complex. It's not that unheard of. After all, maybe we should pay a little attention, a little bit more to men that throw their thing on the table all the time and how it has implications for the American taxpayer every single second that they lift a finger, every single second that they breathe some air. This has implications for you because you pay for it with your blood, sweat, and tears, no matter if you like it or you don't. And most rational people would never like to pay for some shit that works against them actively every second of their goddamn life. I mean, that's not rational. That's not goddamn normal. That's not normal in the Western world. See, there's a lot of people that wake up in the morning and say, let me breathe some air. Let me drink some water. Let me get myself calmly and coolly in a rational way, in a smooth way, get myself ready for my day and smile about what their day is going to be like. Why? Because they have goddamn rights that their tax dollars help them achieve and keep and maintain. But only an irrational person says, damn, you know what? My leaders, I don't care if they're all caught up in honeypot scams and getting blackmailed by corporations and other countries and all kinds of stuff. I don't care about that. I don't care if I pay more for health care. I don't, just because of that. I don't care if all kinds of shit goes on inside of my country and because of honeypot schemes. A rational person doesn't say that. A rational person says, damn, we got to clean house. We got to clean house because this could work against us. For example, maybe the oil companies got a little information about some honeypot scheme about some judge or some president. Got them by the balls. You never know. You never know. Maybe it could be a judge they got by the balls, using that against women. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know because you're not paying attention and not caring enough to know. But when you don't, even when you don't know and you don't even care, there are reminders of what is real and what is not real in your life. And you are job and deal with it. No, and check this out. I mean, what could be more telling than employees, just regular rank and file, getting caught up in honeypot schemes? I mean, this is poetry. This is goddamn poetry. If you have a president, because it never seems to stop, the top DOJ official spills Epstein cover-up plans to honey trap. Okay, so let's go on. The senior official in the Department of Justice was caught in a honey trap scheme.
Thousands and thousands of pages.
Hold on. Was caught in a honey trap scheme. This is ridiculous. Bragging about department plans to redact every Republican from the Jeffrey Epstein list. Now, since we got the taxpayers' attention, now since we got the slaves' attention, the ones that are in the chat, and when I say slave, I just mean the ones that just give it all up and just say, fuck it, I love paying taxes for this shit. Those. But the people that are just regular taxpayers and know something's wrong with this and are in the chat today, I'm asking you a basic question. Do you believe this man is telling the truth or not? Put a 1 in the chat if you believe this man is telling the truth. Put a 2 in the chat if you just don't believe it. Let's go.
Every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files.
I think they did that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're offering her something to keep her mouth shut.
Let me hear that one again. That was very interesting.
Republican or conservative person in those files. Leave all the liberal. Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files. Leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
They did that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're off.
So look, let's break it down like this. To a MAGA supporter, it doesn't matter who says it, how they said it, when they said it, what they said it, under what circumstance. The context never matters. It just doesn't matter. If the person is trustworthy and says some shit like this, they don't trust it. If the person is caught in a honey trap revealing shit because they threw their dangalang on the table, they don't trust it. A Trump supporter will never trust nothing, no matter who it comes from. It could be from God itself, or it could be from the devil. It doesn't matter. A Trump supporter is going to completely ignore both. It literally only can be from Trump. So keep in mind, this is not Trump saying these things on the screen there. That's not Trump at all. So he's not almighty. He's not better than Jesus. He's not better than Satan. He doesn't have all that power, but he's an average man who got his dangalang caught out there, looking for a date. And it happened to be a media person, a fine honey that shows up at a media. Luckily, it's not a minor. That's all I could say. That's where this is, this changes. The story has a positive outcome. This is not a minor. No. This is not a Jeffrey Epstein story in that way. This is not a Trump story in that way. This is an actual media agent going out, sexy as hell, pretending to just want a date and meets a DOJ official online. That's what this is. And she went out there and met him more than once and recorded his dumbass. Why? Because like Epstein was getting those little girls, according to the little girls, and according to, these little girls said it, like he was getting those little girls to go out there and do what it do, right? Be sex slaves for him. And he always said, or often said, bring back information. Tell me what they said. These kinds of things, right? So that's what a honeypot is. And now this is on the micro level. This isn't the worst of the worst of the worst. This is just a tiny little thing here, right? But it has the same implications. I mean, what if this was a foreign agent who did this? They could have gotten inside information about the U.S. government, right? What's going on inside of the U.S. government. So if this was a foreign agent, that could happen. If this was a media person, that could have implications for all the taxpayers. If it was a person who's both media and foreign agent, right? It could have implications for every single United States taxpayer whatsoever, period, no matter what you think. Let alone if it was something like 1,000 sex slaves that were minors sent out for 20 years collecting information on all types of, any type of aristocrat. Now, a lot of MAGA people like to focus on the basketball players that put their dangalang on the table. They hate to or the entertainers that put their dangalang on the table. Diddy. They hate to focus on something that affects their life and everyone else's life, like a politician, a judge, a senator, a congressman, these types of people, right? They hate to focus on that because that gets political and then it has political implications. And they are mostly, MAGA people are just like redneck slaves, only red states. They only do what red states do. So they elect somebody like, MAGA Mike Johnson, who also is known to have buddies that are pedophiles. You see what I mean? I mean, this is where they go. If red state people are like this, if the pedophile is a Republican, fuck it, give them a pass. We okay with that. If the pedophile is a Democrat, we want prosecution. That's how MAGA people think. They don't think like Americans, like it's all bad for everybody. It's bad for every single taxpayer straight, queer, black, white, Asian, disabled, woman, man, child. They don't think like it's bad for everybody. They think in more political terms. So let's listen, because, this story, the media outlet that's been going after these people, this is not the first time they've gone after Democrats and Republicans. But what you will find, because the president is a Republican, and because the department heads are Republican appointees, you will find that MAGA people far more likely want to dismiss anything that they hear.
Offering or something to keep it on show.
Let's hear it again. Okay, so here we go. Let me read the rest of this. The senior officials in the Department of Justice was caught in a honey trap scheme, bragging about department plans to redact every Republican from Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Joseph Snitz, and some of them might be like, man, I think this guy is a Jew. I ain't going to listen to him. Some people of that got there. This is these MAGA people, for real. Ignorant as hell. I don't know who he is. I don't know what name, what implications the name has. To me, it doesn't even matter, right? To me, the truth always comes to light, and it will come to light in many different shapes and forms, no matter what you do about it. So to me, this is just the truth becoming more apparent, more of what we could guess, because you don't have any type of oversight, and they know that. All the employees of the U.S. government know there is no oversight. The only oversight that's there is, do you praise Trump or not? So this is what you get in the end. A lot of people quit, and what you get is what's left over. Joseph Snit, an acting deputy chief, right? Attorney General Pam Bondi and Attorney General Pam Bondi's, because they're not even effective enough to even appoint an active. They just have, to appoint a real deputy. Their shit is in chaos. They can't even get a real deputy. They just have to, after they get rid of the last one and get rid of the last one, right? Then this is just who automatically pops up, like, some sort of shake a bag and here's what you get. That's the best they can do in this administration. Joseph Snit, an acting deputy chief and attorney General Pam Bondi's DOJ, yes, Pam Bondi, the one who worked for Alacostas in Florida when the original Jeffrey Epstein case was brought up, and that DOJ gave a pass, and the victims said that Ghislaine Maxwell had said to all of them that they control the FBI, they control the DOJ, meaning Pam Bondi also, because she worked for the DOJ in Florida, and Alacostas, who got a job from Trump after, and Pam Bondi now has a job under Trump. I'm just tying these things together so people can be reminded. This Pam Bondi, DOJ, was recorded on camera divulging details of a planned cover-up regarding the names of Epstein high-profile clients. Woo! So he said the word now, clients. The word clients, to me, I would just say rapist. Pedophiles. I would say that, but they call it clients. Okay, clients, people, but they agreed. The dude says there's a list, right? Details up regarding the names of the Epstein. How do you have names without a list? Okay, and in any case, let's go on. Snit was secretly filmed by a woman he met on Hinge. Anybody know? Put a 1 in the chat if you ever been on Hinge. I never been there, so put a 2 in the chat if you've never been in Hinge. Put a 1 in the chat if you have. Put a 2 in the chat if you haven't. I've never heard of the shit either. But Snit was secretly filmed by a woman he met on Hinge who works for the Okeefe media group, a far right. Now get this. This is far right media, and a Trump supporter will be like, nah, fuck that. It ain't real. No, that's also the ops. The far right is also. This is far right media saying this. This is some crazy shit. Yo. This is why I'm saying the truth always comes to light. And don't think what I mean is just that this is isolated. No, this is just a reminder letting you know how honeypots would work, even if you get involved with a person like Epstein or Trump's friend or his friend Trump. How it works. You throw your thing on the table too many times. You go out there looking for little girls. You get recorded. You get blackmailed for the rest of your life. Foreign governments can use a person like that becomes president to do what they want them to do. Yes. And others. They could use a judge like that to get them to rule in erroneous decisions. They can get them to rule on oil. They can get them to rule on all kinds of foreign affairs. They can get them to rule on all kinds of shit. A corporation exec, a congressman vote certain way. A senator vote certain way. Yeah, this is how honeypots work. They don't just work for no reason at all, just to get somebody to get out there and find a guy that wants some booty. No, that's not what a honeypot is. A honeypot goes to the weakness of a person like that and then makes them do things after. So thank you, far right media, for exposing this, because once it's exposed, it can't be used to get this person is out of the ranks. He can no longer harm American taxpayers who pay his salary. And that's what we need about the Epstein list. Once all these people are outed, they can no longer be used to harm the United States citizens. That's what honeypots are about. So let's go ahead. Snit was secretly filmed by a woman he met on Hinge who works for the Okeefe Media Group and far-right media group organization founded by Project Veritas, James Okeefe. And I told people, I take information for wherever it comes from. People ask me all the time, where'd you get that from? Liberal media? No, I just read media, all types, and think for myself and put 1 and 2 and 3 together myself using my own brain. I'm not afraid of the media, but if you're trying to get me to read some shit that says Hillary Clinton drank baby blood on Epstein Island, and all you got is a rumor, hello, it doesn't matter if you're talking about how big your dangling is or how tight your vagina is. If it's just a fucking rumor, it's just a rumor. You need evidence before you can really go on with a story. Well, here is your evidence. Let's go on. This is crazy. Hold on. Oh my goodness, yo! Click like and click the subscribe button. I'm telling you, in a month from now, I'm really going to be doing more private streams, for people that are members and stuff like that, because I'm telling you, something is coming, and they are going to shut down even this kind of media. That's how much of shambles the Trump administration is in. They are going to even go after people like myself. Look. In the video published on Thursday, Snit can be seen telling his date that the department will redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democrat people in those files, and have a very slanted version of it come out. Okay, very interesting, Snit. Thanks for that information, right-wing buddy. I mean, I'm even thinking some of these people voted for Trump. Look, Snit, seemingly an open book, also told his date, yeah, he's open because it's a honeypot. I'll tell you anything, pillow talk. Okay, Snit, seemingly an open book, also told his date that the decision to move Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security prison went against Board of Prisons policy due to her status as a convicted sex offender, claiming that meant that the DOJ was offering her something to keep her mouth shut. Let's listen some more. All right, let's see where else they're going with this. All right, let me see. 2 seconds. It's going to play again, just for reference. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Well, don't worry. I'll play it back. Now, hold on. Okay, Snit went on to describe the internal conflict between Pam Bondi and FBI Deputy Don Dan Bongino, whatever the hell. Bongino's insistence that the Epstein files will be released sparked a civil war within the MAGA earlier this year. How many of y'all remember about this fallout and how still it's never been addressed? It's never been addressed. What's going on with Dan? Dan, you still around? Hi, Dan. Dan, what happened to the release all the files? What happened to your opinion? Dan, your opinion doesn't mean shit, dude. You got used. You're nobody. All you are is a welfare recipient receiving American payers' tax dollars from every single hour they go to work. You are a punk ass. Did he even quit yet? Did he even quit? I bet he didn't, because he needs a damn check. He needs that welfare. He doesn't need to be an upstanding person that stands on his square. No, he needs that check. Just like Pam Bondi needs that check. Snip went on to describe the internal conflict between Bongino and blah, 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 that the Epstein files right. Okay, second in command, Bongino at the FBI has been causing problems because he's like, no, these Epstein files have to be released. That's a problem to Bongino. Second in the FBI, that's Kash Patel. Now, no ethics having welfare recipient, American taxpayer welfare recipient, Kash Patel, first generation American, just pointing that out since the Trump administration likes to go after bad immigrants, right? First generation, his parents were damn immigrants. They didn't raise him too well, basically, is what I'm saying. And he got lucky. He's an anchor baby also, right? According to the Trump administration and how they describe people, right? Now, his phony ass also had that strong line with Bongino. We're going to release those files in day one. Now he's disappeared. His word means nothing. He's flip-flopped totally to there's nothing else there, folks. Nothing else there. But this is the best you can get out of maggots. This is the best you can get out of them because they have no spine. They have no spine. Let's go on. No spine having maggots. Okay. Let me see here. Does it go on? Okay, daggone. I did this a little too slow. Here we go. He also describes his boss, Pam Bondi. Damn, this gets real nice. This is the dirt, y'all. This is the tea. We may as well get something out of this honeypot gone wrong. He also describes his boss, Pam Bondi, as a yes person. Yeah, she's worse than just a yes person, too, who wants whatever. And that's bad. Yes person is bad enough, but she's way worse than just that. She protects pedophiles over victims. And she's a woman. So that's pretty much the lowest of the low you can get. Who wants whatever Trump wants? Yes, she does. In a statement, I agree with that 100%. If you agree that Pam Bondi is a yes person and wants whatever Trump wants, meaning i.e. The possible pedophile wants, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you believe Pam Bondi is a yes girl. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe she practices strong ethics and morals. 1 in the chat if you believe she's a yes girl to a possible pedophile or adjudicated sexual deviant Trump, right? And put a 2 in the chat if you believe she has strong ethics and morals. Okay. In a statement posted on social media, Snit claimed that the comments were my own personal comments on what I've learned in the media and not from anything I've done or via work. Yeah. After he got caught. Sure. You know what I'm saying? This is just what he learned in the media, yo. This is what he's been watching media like me and shit. It's saying, man, I heard this shit on V Media, yo. I just worked there. This is not what the lady asked you. I mean, this dude volunteered this information in the first place. It's like, damn. All right. The DOJ said on X that the comments in the video have absolutely zero bearing with reality and reflect a total lack of knowledge of the DOJ's review process, adding that the DOJ is committed to transparency and is in compliance with House Oversight Committee's request for documents. Well, you know, to me, they're going to go on and on and on and keep saying they're in compliance. They're in compliance. I mean, hey, if this is what you want to go for, if this is what people who wake up every day and work and part of their check goes to pay Pam Bondi's nice plush lifestyle, Cash Patel's nice plush lifestyle, drinking lattes in the office every morning, coming out on camera talking shit. If this is what these people who pay their salary think, if you think this is good enough for you, keep in mind, nobody else does on earth. The president of Portugal came out just a week ago in international news calling Trump a Russian asset. Yeah, I don't know if you know, but that Portugal is a EU nation. That has huge implications for the EU, for NATO, for the US's allies. I mean, when one of them says it, news goes a long way. You see what I'm saying? I mean, he's basically saying that Trump has been caught up in some honeypots and is being used by Putin. Now, I mean, that's how big these things can go when they're not caught. I want to thank right-wing media again, right? Extreme right-wing media, because apparently that's what this is, for doing the honeypot and catching this person. Thank you, and exposing it. You see, no matter if it's a Republican, a right-wing, or a Democrat, exposing dirt on government officials, we should celebrate that, right? What we should admonish is when they keep secrets and hold back exposing them. You can have it one way or the other, but you can't have it both ways and come out with something. We come out with the truth. You know, the truth is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, not the half truth. OK, and so if you think they've cooperated and been releasing these files and if you go along for that, I've heard it's only 1% of the files. I've heard that even that 1% has got all kinds of redactions in it. That's what I've heard reported. But in any case, let's continue. What's more than this? Let's see the DOJ. OK, let's go back one more time. Okay, the Trump administration's failure to release the Epstein's files has caused chaos with the Republican Party in recent weeks. This is the Daily Beast. With former diehard Trump loyalist Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, long forearms, right? Long arms, rusty knuckles, joining fellow Republican Representative Thomas Macy, the Democrats. Okay, this is bipartisan. From one extreme Republican representative to a center Democrat somewhat, right? Thomas Macy. Democrats like Republican Ro Khanna is calling for the files to be released. So they have two. That's bipartisan. They're calling for the files to be released. In response to the bipartisan resolution from Macy and Khanna, the DOJ published more than 33,000 documents relating to Epstein's case, 97% of which were already publicly available. Damn. So in other words, they ain't released shit. Is that good enough for the taxpayer, the person who every second they're at work and take a breath of air, money is bleeding out of their pocket to pay for government representatives, congressional members, senators, Supreme Court justices, presidents, vice presidents, cabinet members, who else? Department heads, department deputies, rank and file, blah, 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 la, la, la. If that's good enough for you, then it's good enough for me. Of course, my tax dollars, although I'm an American citizen, I don't live in the U.S., so my tax dollars go to the local nation that I live in, which is Denmark, which I'm happy for. Very happy for, especially in light of this shit. God damn, and so my tax dollars go to young kids getting paid to go to higher learning. Anybody. It goes to everybody's health care, even including mine, including my kids. Things like that. I wouldn't want my tax dollars going to, although I have to report them to the U.S. government, I don't have to pay shit to the U.S. government. See? So I'm very, very happy of that situation because it shows that as an adult, I make sound decisions for my life. Yeah. I like to go to work and get something for it. The Trump administration's failure to release Epstein files has caused chaos. In response to the bipartisan resolution of Macy and Khan, okay, they released these files. So these files are just files, okay. In addition, Green and Massey, let me play that, have both offered, there we go, to read out the names of Epstein powerful clients in Congress, making use of the speech or debate clause that gives representatives immunity. And Green has been petitioning the president to agree to meet with the Epstein victims. Okay, so you could put two and two together. One is saying that the agent, the DOJ deputy in the Honeypot scheme, with his dangling on the table, swearing to get some booty, under under oath, under booty oath, tells the Honeypot media person that, hey, this is what's going on in DOJ. Their abotation here, it sounds like, is that by the time you start releasing stuff and saying and using this immunity, that you only have Democrat names to speak about. Okay. For his part, Trump has dismissed the campaign to release the Epstein files as being part of a Democratic-led hoax. Okay. So in the chat, people that have opinions, right? Listeners. Also, if you're not in the chat, you might want to get in the chat and share your opinion, right? Do you believe this is a Democrat hoax, the Epstein files? Put a 1 in the chat if you believe this is a Democrat hoax. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe it is not. Very simple. If you agree with President Trump calling it a hoax, a Democrat hoax, put a 1 in the chat. If you disagree with President Trump calling it a Democratic hoax, put a 2 in the chat. I want to see what folks' opinions look like here. And then we get to it. Okay, there's a lot of people that saying they believe it's not a hoax. Okay, that's Curtis, 6 cents, Richard, 3. Damn, Richard said 3. Josh Ticks, it's a hoax. Snow, not a hoax. I'm sorry. Michael says it's a hoax. Turtle says it's not a hoax. Mr. Leroy says it's not a hoax. Bruce says it's not a hoax. Mary says it's not a hoax. Margie says it's not a hoax. Damn, Eric, you gotta put one at a time. I missed you. Okay, let me see here. Evelert, not a hoax. Daryl, not a hoax. Best says it's a hoax. Yeah, so there you have it. And Newsflash, formerly Things Worth Knowing, says it's not a hoax. Okay, Curtis says Josh being a Trump supporter and knowing it's not a hoax is next level stupid, mate. Okay, you talking about somebody in the chat. All right, so let me see here. All right, now let me go on to the next one here. Let's see here. Let me get out of this. All right, is there something after this coming? Okay, let's see what this says now.
Short answer first. The official is Joseph Joe Schnitt, an acting deputy-level DOJ attorney who was secretly recorded by an Okeefe Media Group operative on a dating app. In the recording, he made sweeping claims about how the DOJ would handle Epstein-related materials. The recording and the way it was obtained, a hidden camera honeypot, dating app sting, are the core of the story. Axios below is everything verifiable reported so far, with the most important points cited. Who he is, job title, reported in multiple outlets as an acting deputy chief in a Justice Department office handling Epstein-related materials. Articles variously call him an acting deputy chief in the Office of Enforcement Operations, Special Operations. He referred to himself in a follow-up message as the acting deputy chief and said he'd been acting deputy chief for some months. The Daily Beast. Background and experience. Multiple reports say Schnitt has long tenure at DOJ. In his written note to supervisors, he told the department he has worked there about 23 years. He stated that in the communications the DOJ posted. That accords with coverage saying he's a career DOJ employee rather than a short-term political hire. Hindustan Times. The public reporting does not, so far, include a full public CV, law school undergrad details, or a LinkedIn/resume link that outlets could independently corroborate. Reporting focuses on his current role and the content of the recording. If you want, I can try to pull any publicly listed biography or LinkedIn profile. I didn't find a published detailed bio in the first batch of reporting. The Daily Beast. How he got the job. Coverage frames Schnitt as a long-time DOJ career lawyer who rose into a deputy chief role. Outlets describe him as a career official rather than an outside political appointee. The DOJ statement about him said he had no role in the department's internal review of Epstein materials, implying he works within the career ranks. None of the stories I found detail the exact hiring promotion steps.
So, to me so far, it sounds like if you were a right-wing operative in media, that this would be the perfect person to try to catch in a honeypot, right? A career official, somebody who's been a part of the deep state. You know what I mean? Like, you would want to get their opinion. You would want to catch them in something. You would want a career person, that way it's kind of center, left or right, however you want to judge it or whatever. But so to me, it just sounds like, yeah, dude got caught out there, man.
E.g., who appointed him or when he first joined DOJ. Axios Hap, the honeypot sting itself. What happened? The video was published. Here's a breakdown focused only on the honeypot sting, what it is and what happened, and a link to the full video via YouTube, released by Okeefe.
Okay, hold on here. 2 seconds. I'm sorry, because something keeps happening on the screen here. I need to correct it. Let's see here. Why is that happening? All right, well, let me just let it play for the moment. Let's get back to it.
What is a honeypot? A honeypot.
Right. Okay. What is a honeypot? In this context, refers to a covert sting operation using romantic or sexual deception to trick someone into compromising or revealing information. Typically, an operative poses as an attractive or emotional appealing individual to gain access to a target emotionally, enabling secret recordings or manipulation. Here's that tactic. That tactic was used, in a dating app sting. Okay. Wow. So this is how she got from Hinge, got contact to this guy, and I would say that's there it is. The dude broke conduct rules,
In this context, refers to a covert sting operation using romantic or sexual deception to trick someone into compromising or revealing information. Typically, an operative poses as an attractive or emotionally appealing individual to gain access to a target emotionally, enabling secret recordings or manipulation. Here, that tactic was used in a dating app sting, colloquially referred to as a honeypot trap. The honeypot sting against the DOJ official, how it was set up. The operative, posing as Skylar and claiming to be an au pair in Georgetown, connected with Joseph Schnitt.
Damn. Okay, so this is interesting too. Look at this. Just for context, au pairs. I don't know how many people know what an au pair is, but that's like a foreign student who, as a part-time job or whatever, might take care of people's kids. You know what I mean? Pick them up from school. Do these kind of things. Maybe if they're infants, if they have some other experience, they might watch the kid while the parents go out to work, or these kind of things, some house duties, typical house duties relating to children, right? Now, this often is young people. This is a role for young women often, right? So that's just interesting. That is people of wealth, people that have money. A lot of times give accommodations to foreign students, right, and a job while they study, and this is their thing. There's something they can do, But in any case, let's listen some more here.
The DOJ acting deputy chief through the dating app Hinge in July 2025. He thought he was simply on a romantic date, unaware that she was secretly recording him. The Daily Beast, dates and recordings. They met twice, on August 4th and August 16th, and Schnitt was covertly recorded during these meetings. The Daily Beast. Content revealed. In the footage released, Schnitt claimed the DOJ intended to redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, democratic people in those files, and suggested that Ghislaine Maxwell had been transferred to a lower security prison to keep her mouth shut. The Daily Beast, DOJ response. The department issued a public apology. They said the comments have absolutely zero bearing with reality and reflect a total lack of knowledge of the DOJ's review process. Schnitt later wrote to supervisors saying, "Had I a clue she was recording, the first date would have immediately ended," and emphasized that his remarks were
like that. What the hell? I mean, had I known, no shit, Sherlock. Had you known they were recording, you would immediately end the date. Yeah, wow, that's pretty smart of you. Damn.
personal comments based on what I've learned in the media, not from his work. The Daily Beast, the full video. The video was released by James Okeefe, Okeefe Media Group, and uploaded to YouTube.
Now, people that don't know, Okeefe is basically, they say, is right-wing media, right? So this is right-wing media releasing this. I mean, the idea is that this would be like Fox. You know what I'm saying? These would be like people that don't necessarily like the left revealing dirty information, except this time it's somebody that, is under the Trump administration, under Pam Bondi. Yeah, so let's see.
Though many major news stories refer to it without embedding.
All right, so 2 seconds.
There's no client list.
Now, before I play this Okeefe stuff, let me see something real quick. Let me, I got to make a few adjustments. I'm sorry, because something's a little off here on the screen. So 2 seconds. Let me just fix that so I don't get annoyed by it. All right, so now that's there. Now let me go back to the Okeefe files. Boom. Yeah, now let's see. Let's go back to them. Where are they at? Boom, boom, boom. Here. Nope, one more. All right, here we go. Sorry about that, y'all.
But not on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. Yeah, of course, my I don't know what it is. I think I was charging at the same time. Maybe that or the security kind of, was a little bit too much for my device here. So, but check this out. Now, let's go back to where we were, and you can hear Okeefe break this shit down. Like, this guy is not for Democrats at all. He's not a Democrat promoter. He's not a lefty. He's not any of that. Actually, this is right wing. They normally go after Dems, but like Fox News somewhat now has a little bit started, I guess they have no point but to do stories about some truth. It's the same thing regarding Republicans and regarding Trump, because they've been caping for Trump the whole time. A lot of right wing is starting to flip on Trump. And a lot of the people that helped him get into office starting to flip on Trump, And here we go. Now, you will hear the Department of Justice. They basically make shambles. They've already been flip-flopping. And Okeefe is going to show you, he's going to prove it, that they've been flip-flopping the entire time. The DOJ, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. I mean, he's been covering this shit.
With children or child porn.
Something didn't seem to add up. It raised questions. The questions for me and my team was, and this is not an easy story for us to publish, is Why share that with someone at a restaurant, but not share it with the American people first?
You see that? That's an honest critique about this Justice Department, period. Just something so basic. Why would they share that with someone so casually at a restaurant, seemingly private, but not share it with the American people? And this is their pattern the entire time. I mean, I only think that has really, really bad implications, but let's go on.
With the American people first. We also saw this on Joe Rogan.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
And is there video from the island?
Not of what you want.
But is there footage?
Look, is there video on the island? Not that you want. I mean, but this is bullshit ass taxpayer welfare recipient Kash Patel, anchor baby Kash Patel, according to the Trump, administration's policy,
If there was footage of anyone doing anything else, we would have opened a case.
There are tons and thousands of videos. Yeah. And it's all with little kids.
Something doesn't seem to be
They're
adding
saying
up.
two totally different things. Pam Bondi is saying something totally opposite of Kash Patel. It doesn't matter what political party you're with. Don't you see that is screaming something very, very bad when two people that work together have two opposing stories about something so serious in nature that they've been talking about prior years and years. I mean, Kash Patel built a career on talking about this shit. But hey.
Something doesn't seem to be adding up. Now, the Department of Justice issued this statement, which you probably all saw this week. There's no client list. There's no evidence of any blackmail. And there's no evidence that could predicate an investigation against anybody else. There's no story. There's no evidence. Now, listen, as a reporter, as a journalist, I can always tell you, there's always a story. It's just a question.
I believe a troll just entered the chat.
Story. It's just a question of to what degree. But to see the government tell us there's no story, it just doesn't seem to add up. And I'm a little biased on this issue because I myself, my team, as you know, have been raided by the FBI. Granted, it was the previous administration that did this. You're looking at a search warrant. The FBI taking battering rams to our doors a couple years ago.
I'm sorry, so what is this regarding? This is the search warrant. This open up.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. They go after teachers. They go after mothers. They go after journalists in the United States of America under the flimsiest of pretenses, often a pretext, often a false pretense, and they lie about it. They ruffle through our notes. They go through, and by the way, the previous Attorney General expressly forbid this. Even the liberal news media was against it at the time that it happened. But this administration did get around to releasing the affidavit, the probable cause. The case is now closed. In my case, they closed the case and they had to release what's called an affidavit. That is the justification for the search warrant, the probable cause. Thankfully, hopefully, we'll now see who lied to the FBI. We'll see the transparency. We'll get the accountability. But when they released this affidavit, this probable cause, they redacted every single word.
What? I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're being accused of something by the government, they should be able to show you and show you and the world why and what is behind why they did it. It's very simple. Journalists, political figures, or ex-cabinet members, or ex-administration personnel, these kind of things. Anyone, a citizen, this is just probable cause. Probable cause exists in the law, and But for some reason, they know these things take forever in the courts to resolve. So they rather do stuff like this to harass people, to really, really violate their civil rights, right? Violate even their human rights. This administration is totally okay with violating every American's civil and human rights because they know that it will just end up in court and be fucking litigated for maybe a year or two. And by then, they would have gotten away with all the crime they need to get away with so that when they leave office, if they ever do, they can never be held accountable. Or maybe they won't ever leave again. Maybe the country is transformed forever. Let's find out.
You are looking at the justification for the raid of my newsroom. The Department of Justice right now could wave their magic wand and show you what's behind these black lines. Does the public right to know outweigh whatever marginal concern the FBI has to protect their confidential informants? And by the way, it's a crime to lie to the FBI. This is over the Biden diary stuff. Did actually Biden lie to the FBI? If you or I lied to the FBI, we'd be in trouble. In fact, the only thing that wasn't redacted on this document was a footnote that said, based upon my training and experience, I have learned, this is an FBI agent talking, that cell phones are capable of sending emails. This is just bizarre. Even the ACLU protested this. This is another liberal organization defending me in federal court. This is just bananas. What does it mean to be liberal anymore? What does it mean to be conservative anymore? I consider myself a constitutionalist. I believe in the First Amendment, I believe in the Fourth Amendment, and I believe in the public's right to know.
But MAGA people don't. If you ask MAGA people about these exact same things, look at what you see in the chat. Free Ghislaine Maxwell, Trump 2028. You see this kind of stuff. I mean, again, we talked about this. They are unmoved. It is only a cult. It is only a cult. It is not a political party. It is not a, media organization, MAGA. It is a cult, and they must back up Trump, no matter if he destroys the United States of America or not. No matter if he raped their children, they would still support Trump no matter what. It's serious. I mean, reality. It's just what it is.
So let's go back to this. Department of Justice statement this week. Much of the material is subject to sealing. We need to protect. Much of the material is subject to sealing. We need to protect victims. Well, I'm all about protecting victims, and I don't believe we should publish any child pornography. But this did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. By show of hands, how many of you think that's a lie? 100% of you.
Raising hand right now. I believe it's a lie. I believe it's a lie. Raise your hand. Raise your hand in the chat if you believe that was a lie. Let me see. Where is the hand thing at? Let me see here. Hand. I'm raising my hand right here now. Here it is. Oh, is it there? Hand. Did I do that? Come on now. What's going on here? No. Search emoji. Hand. There we go. Boom. Boom. All right. Did I get it in there? Anyway, y'all, I don't know how to work this daggone thing, but let's go back to it. My hand is raised. And yeah, to me, it's just a simple thing. It's not a politics issue. It's not a what party do you support issue. It's not are you a liberal or a conservative issue. This, to me, is just something that is rudimentary to existence, rudimentary to sound thinking, rudimentary to sound decision making. These kind of ideas.
I mean, this is crazy. So, I'm announcing, and I have announced previously, but I'm going to release some new information here on stage with you today. It's time to take matters into our own hands.
Yes, I believe so. And I think that's what Michelle Obama was alluding to when she said, do something. Yeah, do something. That's going to solve the problem. Do something, because this Supreme Court ain't going to do a goddamn thing. Just best believe that. They are in, a few of those judges are definitely in cahoots with whatever is going on with Trump to make sure that he gets all the little power to evade justice and commit any crime, as well as the rest of his administration that they want to commit whatsoever towards the American people and anyone else. The Supreme Court is actually down with it. Now, they may side against some of Trump's shit, but the key things that keep him in power and in control and continuing, that's where they protect him no matter what.
If we can't get transparency, then we need to be the change that we seek. We need to have people come to us, sources on the inside, brave people, often speaking out of turn. And we released images. These were images given to us by people in the government, people who don't trust the government. First, we got some images inside the Epstein temple, never before seen. Very strange stuff, including something on the ceiling. We were trying to decipher what that was. Then we got images inside his library, including on his blackboard. I presume the FBI has all this. Strange things, power, deception, various words. A lot of people online trying to decipher or crack
now,
the
look,
code.
I mean, they found this stuff, and this is what I was saying. People have to understand that what has happened with Epstein and what happens with honeypots is simple espionage. This is what the operation was for 20 years, to get stupid ass men with power, with access, to be able to put their dangling on the line, right? Because they're, not finding a way to get any good loving. So they're going after little girls and to catch them on tape and to blackmail them, control their political decisions, control their rulings, control their votes in Congress, in the Senate, control their votes or their rulings in the Supreme Court or in the undercourts. That's what this is about. The whole operation is out there. I mean, but of course you cannot rely on legacy media to call it what it is. But I can assure you, European leaders know what it is and are starting to talk about it and call Trump flat out. And there's some others. I mean, they're following this shit very closely. And you don't know how many of them really even have access to these files either, right? Because if Russia could get access to them, because Trump tended to have a lot of Russians around him in the 90s, and after, it could be very well that others have access to it too, via Russia or not. Maybe Epstein was dealing with a few different countries. You don't know. And maybe those countries also have people that have infiltrated their shit and got access to the files. You don't know. But once you have all this shit documented like this, very likely more than one organization has it. Very more likely than
Decipher
anything.
or crack the code. We even got images inside his bedroom.
I mean, if the Daily Beast, what's his name? What's the guy's name? The journalist from the Daily Beast, y'all. Help me remember his name. The Daily Beast guy that's interviewing. He's interviewing Epstein at the time that Trump takes office in his first administration. Trump takes office. Epstein is talking to the Daily Beast about photographs that Epstein showed him of Trump with little girls, naked little girls, flat out. Epstein gets arrested and ends up dead in a New York court. I mean, come on, look at these images and just remember that. Remember that when you look at the images, remember these words. Can I go back a little more? Can we see it? Let's play it a little bit more.
Then we got images inside his library, including on his blackboard. I presume the FBI has all this. Strange things, power, deception, various words.
See? Power, deception. You know, this is like, you know, I'm sorry, but I've known people that have read books and that have been executives reading these books. And obviously an executive reading books on manipulation, psychology, things like this. Obviously, you have to ask yourself, who are they, you know, what are they using this information for, these tricks for, this learner stuff, knowledge for? You see, I mean, it's flat out in people's face. These people, pretty much, it's safe to assume, it is safer for you to assume that they have been part of a honeypot trap. Every single person that went into Epstein's sphere and involved themselves with any one of those 1,000 girls. It's safer and more rational to assume that foreign governments have this information and have been tinkering with the American people. It is safer to assume that and release all the files and clean all house, including the people that protected these people, than it is to continue in any other manner. If you ask me, it's more economically safe too. For your pockets, for your taxpayer dollars.
A lot of people online trying to decipher or crack the code. We even got images inside his bedroom. Next to his bed table, there was a phone. On the phone, there was a series of names. Karina, Darren, Rich, Mike. I wonder if any of these people know what happened with all this child stuff that happened. We even were able to find out the names of these people by doing some research. His last girlfriend, his advisor, his lawyer. You're trying to tell me that none of these people had any knowledge about any illegal activity? But I think it's time for us to just hear directly from FBI agents. What do you guys think?
Yay! What do you guys think? What do you guys think out there? Put a yay if you're ready to hear more from FBI agents. And put a boo if you're not in the chat. Let's see. Alvin, are you a booer? You don't want to hear more from FBI agents? Or are you a yay? Let's hear more for FBI agents. Let's hear more. Let me know what you think out there. Mendiki, are you a boo or are you a more on this? Who wants to hear more of the FBI agents? Let's go. Let's go. I think I want to hear some more. Let's go.
You know, I have an idea. What if we launch something called
Yay!
FBI Leaks? How about that? How about we release
Damn, he's going there.
Audio and video? Listen, you know, whether they come to me on the record or off the record, they tend to be more honest off the record. So perhaps we need to publish what they're saying off the record.
Yay! Woo, 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 woo. Fresh toast. Yeah, let's get it on. Come on.
Publish what they're saying off the record. We have to do that. And in our first video, released right now online, we're going to release the Deputy National Intelligence Officer of the FBI, whose name is Rami Hassan, and he's talking about the Epstein case, and he says, I'm with the FBI, quote, it's a shit show.
Damn.
And this is, I'm just going to play a little clip. You can find the rest of it online.
I'm with FBI. This is a shit show.
Small coincidence.
I'm with FBI.
He also talks about that you can kind of see where law enforcement kind of either turned a blind eye or missed things. This man is a director, and he's saying law enforcement turned a blind eye. The question is, what did they turn a blind eye to? And I'm calling on everyone on the inside
That's a very good question. What did they turn?
To come out, to tell the truth, because we, the American people, have a right to know. Now, I have been doing this a lot recently in the deep state, and some of this stuff you can't make up. We've met with people in the Pentagon, the Department of Defense. You remember this guy, Jamie Menina? He's a former FBI special agent within the Department of Defense, caught this year during the new administration, talking about what he does inside the intelligence community.
Went to the intelligence community, and I became an FBI special agent. So I became a spy hunter. So I was a counterintelligence agent special agent at the FBI.
Now, he then proceeds to, by the way, what about the irony of a guy who's a spy hunter being caught on hidden camera by my team? Thankfully, I'm not a Chinese spy.
To the intelligence.
Damn.
The First Amendment. You talk about hunting spies. What if my undercover person was a Russian spy?
Go away, you liar. You're a known fraudster. You have a poor reputation. No one believes you. Go away.
Okay, so this is the former FBI. This is what they do, by the way. They attack you, little slings and arrows.
Damn, so these people, he's telling them, after he gets dirt from them, he's exposing them. And then he's showing you how upset they are. You know, this is wild. This is wild. This is wild. So let me ask you a question. It doesn't matter if you're pro-Trump or against Trump. Do you agree with what this man does, or do you disagree? If you agree, write agree in the chat. If you disagree, write disagree. Zach, that's especially for you, Zach, Diecast, Mansoor. You disagree with this guy, or you agree. If you disagree, Zach, write disagree. If you agree, write agree. I just want to see where people are at. I agree with what this guy is doing. So I don't understand how anyone would be against what he's doing. To me, it doesn't matter if he's right-wing media, left-wing media. I'm of the personal position, and I don't blame anybody else for being any different. You should live your life in the best way you think it helps you, right? But for me, I just follow up on all media and read between the lines. I'm that intelligent that I can do that, right? So I will listen to right wing. Like, this dude is he's telling you he's a constitutionalist. That's not right wing in my view, but they tend to vote against some things that I don't agree with. Also, although I don't see an issue with being a constitutionalist, but my whole thing is like, I believe in the Constitution, but I believe in it, all the way. I don't just all of a sudden start trying to destroy the 14th Amendment, because that's constitutional law. It was created by the Congress, which the Constitution gives Congress the right to do. Constitutional law. That's what Congress does. They create constitutional law also. So everything extends from that. So, but there's a lot of Trump supporters that don't like this guy now, just like they dumped Joe Rogan.
Little slings and arrows, little paper cuts taken 100 times over. People stop trusting you, but you got to keep going anyway, screaming at me that I'm a liar. In fact, they even got a lawyer to sue me. This guy who's what I call an ambulance chaser for intelligence agents. And he sued me and said he's going to expose all of our undercover people. He even tried to blackmail me, saying that, well, if you cooperate with us and give us funding, we won't post the names of your sources. These people play dirty, but we're not going to give up. Sometimes I meet with them myself. You might be saying, how is that possible? In Washington, D.C., it's possible because these people have some type of psychosis where they're not even paying attention to who's talking to them. You have to understand how these people in Washington, D.C. work. They don't care about you. They want money and they want power. But we have to expose that. This guy was one of the guys at the Biden.
Damn. Do you agree? Do the people in Washington, D.C., and now that includes Trump, like this guy's talking about left and right. Do they want power? Let's see. Is this true what he's saying? Hold on.
But we have to expose that.
We have to expose that. Okay.
Care about you.
Right. Is it true they don't care about you? Is it true? Do they care about you or not? If it's true, put a 1 in the chat. If it's not true, put a 2 in the chat.
They want to understand how these people in Washington, D.C. work. They don't care about you. They want money and they want power. But we have to expose that. This guy was one of the guys at the Biden White House telling us all about what was happening inside the Biden White House. I was sitting right across from me. At one point, the guy actually, they never asked me a question about myself. Our undercover people, they never ask us questions. At one point, he actually says, so tell me about you. I was like, whoa, I've never been asked that question before. No one's ever asked me that before.
This is interesting because I want to see the MAGA people in the chat pay attention. Now he's exposing a Biden person. So would you say that gives his comments about Trump, people under Pam Bondi, more credence when he's willing to do it about persons that work under the Biden administration? Keep in mind, whoever the president is doesn't necessarily reflect this individual's personal party either, but it reflects the administration's choices, and decision making.
It's like you're James Bond or something, and he was like, oh, thank you so much. He kept talking. Just flattered him, kept going. Pretty remarkable stuff. I took my glasses off, revealed who I was. This guy is so dumb, he doesn't recognize James Okeefe, who is not so heavily disguised, but simply wearing glasses. And again, it has nothing to do with my disguise. These people are in some type of psychosis. They have...
All right, let me see something here.
James Okeefe.
So there's this show that's based upon like what he does, and I thought you'd find it very interesting given who you are. So I just want to show a few minutes of it and get your thoughts. And it's based upon this guy, James Okeefe.
Yeah.
And I think the organization was Project Veritas.
Oh, Project Veritas.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a terrible person.
This is so funny. This is so funny. In any case, everybody, you got to go over to and check this whole thing out. It's about an hour long, and it exposes a whole lot of stuff. Now, if you're truly against the government behaving poorly, and you're truly for it being exposed, whether it's Republican or Democrat, I would advise you to go check the whole thing out right now. Of course, again, I watch right and left media. I just read. I'm a thinking person. I can comprehend shit for myself, right? So I'm not opposed to reviewing anything in writing or any media that's supposed to be information based. I'm smart enough to, and I have enough knowledge base to be able to incorporate things, or to also be able to, what do they call it? Fish out things, filter out things that are unnecessary and not useful, right? And possibly maybe just phony and ridiculous, right? So I would say, folks, you should check this one out. Tia, I believe that the Republicans totally don't care. I think corruption is an issue in government generally, but I think the Republican Party, they add a different element, not just corruption, but as a group, as a party, no care, complete utter callousness, like no shame, no caring about the United States of America. And that's a different thing than whether you have corruption. The government has corruption, the state governments have corruption, the federal government has corruption, period. And therefore, that's why you need to always be trying to, within your ranks, clear that out wherever it is, right? Expose it, Supreme Court has it, corruption. We don't see a damn thing happening with that. This is where we get. This is where we find ourselves. This is how you get to the America where every second you breathe some air in, while you're at work, some of your money is coming out of your pocket and going into these people's pockets. And that's how American citizens need to start thinking. Start thinking that it's you who's paying for this bullshit. Instead of paying for good things that help you, you're literally paying for some bullshit that hurts you. That is unacceptable. That's unacceptable, irrational, and it needs to be fixed. And the only way it can really be fixed is the only possibility you're going to have, unless you want your entire country destroyed, is to make sure you get every man and woman and young person out that's above the age of 18, right? That's a voting age to vote in these midterm elections. Like, seriously, I hate to tell people, but there's not going to be a quick fix, because that's how democracy works. If you get too many stupid, misinformed people that literally vote for could be pedophiles and are sexually adjudicated persons, that have committed assault in some court, in some form, right? When you support this kind of shit, this is what you get. And they did support it. They promoted people that gave a slap on the hand to Jeffrey Epstein. Pam Bondi, she got a great career. She worked for the DOJ. Let me remind people, she worked for the DOJ back in Florida. And this is what the victim said about Pam Bondi's DOJ under Acosta, who got a job for Trump after, and now Pam Bondi works for Trump too. But this is what the victim said back in the 90s about what Ghislaine Maxwell was telling them about the Florida DOJ, where Acosta comes from and Pam Bondi worked under him at.
None of the victims today have been informed about the facts that Maxwell was moved. And that, you know, is another just kind of slap in the face. It's also, I think, really important. There's an element of re-traumatization here. Because one of the things that Maxwell in particular did so effectively is she would taunt these victims, and she would say, or people that would be in a position to know things, and she would say, you can't do anything because we own the police. We own the FBI. We own the district attorney's office. And so that had a really chilling effect on people that may have been, and she would say, you can't do anything because we own the police. We own the FBI. We own the district attorney's office. And so that had a really chilling, you can't do anything because we own the police. We own the FBI. We own the district attorney's office.
So, yes, that's what they were being told in the 90s. The people that they were talking about that were owned, Pam Bondi, Acosta, both got jobs from Trump. Pam Bondi's got a job from Trump now. And what did they do? Covering up the same damn shit again. That's just the facts of it. You know, yeah, these items are owned by the American people, every single taxpayer. The Epstein list being released is only a matter of, do American people want it or not? Because they're owned by the American people. The DOJ is owned by the American people. The White House is owned by the American people. The Senate is owned by the American people. The Congress is owned by the American people. The Supreme Court is owned by the American people. It is literally a possession of the American people. The American people literally fund it to operate, and without their funding to operate, they do not exist. Literally every day you get your ass into work, money starts bleeding out of your pocket to these people. So it's ultimately just a matter of your values. What do you value, American people? What do you value? And do you value it enough to change it when you have the opportunity to change it with a vote? That's what this is about. That's what this is about. Do you or do you not? And that's exactly what the world is going to find out. So good luck with that. Good luck with that, folks. In the meanwhile, I will be in Denmark enjoying my latte after work in a reasonable country where people expect regular shit to be done with taxes, like universal health care and, paid education for my children and myself, should I want it at any time I choose as an adult or a child. We'll be back, y'all. Peace. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Share, like, and subscribe. And please join as a member, because I'm telling you, in a month or two, something like that soon, I know some of these things will be best said privately, in the closed stream. So, peace, y'all. Have a good day.
They want more. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets, with the people in the slums and the homeless bums, with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man. the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want